And of course, we do have on Zoom, virtually, Calypso Knight, Miron B. His name is Miron Bruce. That's right?
Of course.
Myron, you don't know, you would not know, and you're knowing this for the first time. I mean, we've been on the stage, shared the stage, and it was a pleasure, let me say this on Saturday, to be on the same stage with you and the rest of the best of Xtempo and freestyle artists, and I really feel welcome. However, there is something different about you. You are so versatile. There's a parang that you sing this year that I really like, and we paranging by this woman. And apparently, man, don't know. Apparently, it's you. But anyway, let's talk a little bit. Who is Miron Bruce?
Oh God, that's a kind of question, man. It depends on which angle you get to engage it from. Ideally, a humble human, servant of the people, channel of creativity. To the outside world, looking in the Calypsonian, the digital marketer, and a friend to all.
You do this Xtempo news. Let me tell you, when you sang I Give Myself a Parang, that was it for me. I say, he can't do nothing else. But now you came up with this Xtempo news that just blew everybody away using AI and all the technology. But let's talk about that. When did that come up? How did you manage to have put that together? And we all look forward to your Xtempo news.
I'm going back to about 2005, 6, 7, around 2008 to be precise. I'm a deep researcher, and looking at where Calypso has came to at that time, and where live music, the entertainment industries transitioning into the digital space, what does this new stage offer? What opportunities does this new stage offer us as Calypso practitioners? The old guys in Vader and them had the tents, Kitchener and Sparrow and them had the radio, Shadow and Black Stallion and all the rest come forward. The Super Blue had the TV. And we are the generation that inherited the internet. And now, how do we craft products for that stage? And at that time, I was looking at all the different things that we could do in Calypso, and Calypso could utilize to transition in this time and stay alive and flourish. And that's where Xtempo News started. One of the things, we didn't have AI in the form that we have it now at that time. So in 2014, I did my first episode. And then I did it more like a pilot to see how it would do. And that's just put it on YouTube. And in the pandemic, that's when we had no more stages, and the digital ecosystem was the stage that we had to function in. And that is when I used VFX at that time to do the face changes and that kind of thing to put out the Xtempo News.
Miron B.
Juby.
Probably known as yes, man. Good morning. And how things generally? Because I mean, you would be classified and not put in a particular box, but in terms of like a Calypso and the music and the parang and stuff that they put out, there's a humorous side to it. So more or less a humorous Calypsonian. And sometimes people tend to overlook the level of creativity that goes into humor, right? And putting out a humorous Calypso. I remember a song that you would have done some years ago, Bottom in Your Face. And the video in a maxi taxi, and you're describing what happens in some of the ram jam maxi taxis. But what happens in the mind of Miron B, Calypso Knight, when creating these types of renditions?
It happens quickly. And as I've come to learn, it doesn't happen in my mind. I mean, most of us creatives, we like to take credit for the thing, but inspiration is floating all around us. And we just have the capacity to, as I say, walk into this cloud of inspiration and, hey, I have an idea. Sometimes we wake up with it, sometimes we sit down having a coffee and it hits you. And for me, When I decided to do calypso, when I was about 16 years old, right? I started late in the grand scheme of things. I was doing soca and the contemporary style music, and I wrote one humorous calypso because I went on TV and I realized everybody coming and singing the ballads and the other popular songs, and nobody's entertaining these people. And I picked up my little guitar with 3 chords I'd known at the time, and I wrote a song called Hard Times, and that was my first humorous calypso. And it just so happened that I got an opportunity to get into entertainment with Maljo Kaiso. For those who don't know what that was Errol Fabian and them. It was Yangatang, sorry.
Yeah, Yangatang.
Yangatang. That was humorous calypso 10. So the second year, Errol Fabian and Nicky Crosby broke off and formed Maljo Kaiso. And being in that incubator, which was very unique for me, because we had all of the humorous Calypsonians there. We had some of the, like Zandoli, and we had Lord Blakey there, Mighty Power. We had all of the top comedians. So we had Larry Joseph, not Peter Joseph, Larry Joseph, Clifford Lemon, Penelope Spencer, Myron Ali. Those are actors and actresses. Of course, Errol Fabian, Nicky Crosby. Me as a young 19-year-old at the time, I can't call it a university. I had 4 years of working with these people and seeing how different, I want to say, cultural practitioners bring comedy and entertainment to the people. So we had the stand-up comedians, the sketch comedians, the Calypsonians, the actors, all in one place. And that was a very unique situation because we didn't just perform for the carnival season, we did a lot of touring in that time. So we spent 4 years touring the world, doing calypso and comedy. And every year, of course, you had to bring a humorous calypso. And that experience, I think that incubator, I think that 4 years of working in that environment gave me a little a channel that I could take advantage of in terms of presenting the type of storytelling that I'm able to do and the experience that I would have gathered from all of those people to present it in music. And that is how we got all of the 6 humorous Calypso Monarch titles. We also got, of course, all of the comedy, the funny parang songs, and of course, Bottom in the Face and all of the other digital content.
Miron B, and thanks for that history there. I personally didn't know about that particular thing. I heard the name. Yeah, but I could only imagine how your belly would feel being a member of the audience, experiencing all those facets of the cultural space, but from a comedic and humorous standpoint. Looking at Xtempo now, so of course, you would have both participated in Xtempo, Rama, but you are no stranger to the competition and titles. Xtempo though, and you mentioned a short while ago about touring, but recently, and when I say recently, I mean within the last 2 or 3 years, you were part of a contingent that went to showcase Xtempo to the world in the Apollo.
Yes.
Tell us how significant Xtempo is for you in particular. Someone who we can clearly say is I would tell you flat that you are a legend in the art form. How significant is this particular art form? And you don't just do the Santimanite, you dabble in the other melodies as well. Just tell us briefly.
Well, I'll tell you where it started. I started as a freestyle artist. As we used to say in the 90s, I used to chant. That was my thing. So freestyle and freestyling in that way was always came natural to me. And I would say it came the most natural to me, more than anything else, sitting and writing music and all of that. And one year, I think it was 2006, I was in a taxi heading home to Marval. And on the radio, I heard Xtempo preliminaries tonight at the Cave Map Pub or some one of them places on Henry Street. And when I look, I see a sign marked Cave Map Pub. I say, driver, stop here. And I jump out and I walk into the Xtempo thing, and I enter the Xtempo competition for the first time. Not knowing anything, not knowing, understanding how the competition mechanics work and all of that. And I made it down to the final round. I did, but I didn't make it to the finals of that year. But the very next year, I went back again and I got into the finals and I came third. And I mean, I never looked back after that. Now,
Who were your oh, sorry, go ahead.
just to finish, answer the question. Extempo, I think, is the purest and truest form of calypso, and it is the best test for one's artistic capacity. Right? To walk on stage and say you're a calypsonian, and somebody say, here's a topic, sing a calypso on it, give us 4 verses right now and entertain us. Make sure it punchy, and at the end we'll let you know with a round of applause. That I think is was my biggest draw to Extempo. Right? The
Okay.
challenge of not knowing what to expect and what you have to do.
All right, so you clearly master the art of extempo, but there must be an inspiration or individuals who will inspire you. I see you took on the greatest gypsy head-to-head on many occasions and won. Was gypsy an inspiration before you entered? And of course, for me, it was related and gypsy back in the day that would battle out and so on. Who inspired you in the extempo arena?
I have to say, I am a bit selfish. Let me call it selfish in inverted commas. I never looked at any individual in entertainment across the board as an inspiration, right? But however, there is admiration, and I would want to say a level of study that went into everybody that I had the opportunity to look at. And I'm talking from Michael Jackson to Bob Marley, come down to our Marshall Montano, go straight back to the Mighty Power, Gypsy, and all of them. And I was more focused on developing self, right, and my artistry. So when I got into Calypso and Extempo, I did not want to be seen as or known as being another one of or cut off of the cloth of. I wanted to forge my own identity. So with that, it was always making the other practitioners a study more than seeing them as as inspiration to get into. But where I did get into Extempo, I must say, in when we had the Maljo Kaiso tent, there was an Extempo segment that Lady Africa
Yes.
and Abebere used to do on the show. And what we used to do while the music played in the background, we used to go at the back of the tent and Extempo. So there's a documentary. I can't remember the name of it. It was a very the last good Calypso documentary that was done. I can't remember the guys that did it. There's a clip of Lord Superior and Mighty Sparrow extempoing at the back of the tent in that clip. And that was at the Maljo Kaiso show. There, I'll post it on social media. I was about 19 years at the time. And it was myself, Errol, Fabian, Joel, deceased Joel, Stinger brother, and a few other Calypsonians that used to extempo at the back there. And this is every night. And that is where the actual extempo experience started to come in.
But so let's talk about the influences you would have on people. I'm sure you will be approached by young people as to have you rub off some of your talent and your ability, particularly extempo. I'm sure young people are enthused the fact that and what I saw on that night, on Saturday night, when you were challenged with the colors that you had on, and you actually extempo on the colors that he was wearing, Juby. And that for me, it shows your skill, your uniqueness, and this is where I said, look, we need to have you on the show this morning. So there's that level of respect. But speak to me about those children who are asking you if you could pass on some of what you have. Obviously, God give you that blessing and your ability and so on. But is there a school for extemporing, or can children learn from or is it something that you're just born with?
Well, I mean, anybody could do it because it's just a matter of thinking and singing, performing in rhythm and rhyme. But in terms of mentorship over the years, that's one of the things that I spent a lot of time doing. I had a lot of artists come through the studio. I mean, I'm fairly well open to people that, want to get some advice and, want to get some information. And I spent so much years in studio producing artists that oftentimes somebody might come and then 2 other artists might be with them and they would sit and we rap on these things. I am a firm believer of encouraging and teething new talent and bringing them into the ring, because it can't stand on the pillars of 3 or 4 entertainers, right? This art form is bigger than any one of us.
Yeah.
And if we're not bringing in the new ones and showing them how to do it right, we would end up with a very thin, mediocre product. So yes, I spend a lot of time, I would want to say mentoring, counseling, advising, and encouraging a lot of young artists to not only get into Xtempo, but the Calypso, the Soca Parang, and so much more.
All right, Miron B. Just Saturday night, a very unfortunate situation took place. You and I were witness, and you went on stage to kind of save face, but clearly that was not a very good thing for the art form. A stalwart at that would have done. I don't know if you want to go over it, but want to speak to it. But I just want to, given the fact that you went to rescue this predicament that we were in, all of us who were there present. But just an overview, the good and bad and the ugly, if there was any. But just tell us about your overview as
I wouldn't say there was any good, bad, and ugly. But it was just unfortunate on all levels and from all angles, because the stalwart had a point to make, and I would say when you look at things objectively, it was, I would say, he is justified, but again, timing is a serious thing. The production was put on by Mark John, Contender, right? He is the producer of the Xtemporama event. The artist in question had a message for the Tuco executive, and he chose that platform to send a message to the Tuco executive. Unfortunately, the Tuco executive was not there, but what was present was an audience that was excited to see him perform on the night. So that was just unfortunate all around, and I just thought that the event went down so good. The audience enjoyed themselves, and nobody would want to leave such a good event, such a nice experience with a sour taste in the mouth. And all in the interest of Calypso, we went on to some picong for Mark John.
All right.
Miron B. Before we close, the transition from Miron B to Calypso Night, what's the reason for that?
The primary reason is the digital world, right? Today we have, every step we make, we leave a digital mark and a digital footprint. Also, when somebody, today we have access to the people in Nepal, Isle of Man, Dubai. And when they see us as entertainers or practitioners or our content, and they ask, who is this? If they hear Miron, be okay, what is Miron? Where from? What part of Africa is that? That leaves one lane. If they say Calypso Night, oh, Calypso, that's from the Caribbean, that's Trinidad, eh? So it was a twofold decision. One, to be easily identified as we put out more digital work, and the focus is on the digital space. And of course, to be able to leave those marks and footprints across the internet as we project the culture and the artistry of Trinidad and Tobago.
All right. Culture, listen, before you go, I want you to plug Rise and Shine Morning Show with Brother B and Juby, and you doing Xtempo. So go.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I say that this is fine. Right now we in Tobago. Please rise and shine, Brother B and my good friend Juby. Wake up every morning to do this for we. We do a little culture and some news, and we give people all our views. I am telling you this, I had to let you know, Rise and Shine is the best show in Tobago.
Miron B, Calypso Night.
Yeah. We want to thank you very much for being here with us this morning. All the best to you. Looking forward to February. Hey, and all you put the thing on a Friday so I could come down and be able on the weekend, but during the week it is hard. So anyhow, it was a pleasure being on stage with you, and a pleasure just being with you guys. Thank you very much.
And as usual,
Thanks
it's
for
always a
having me.
pleasure.
Yeah, man.
Yes, Juby.
All right. Take care. All right. So Miron B there, Miron Bruce, of course, Calypso Night, and what a pleasure. Yes. And I tell you, but the night was fantastic. We had I think we have a clip from what I did.
Yeah, we have a clip with you.
Yeah. Are we ready, Francis? Are we going out with that? Pain, I think it's Pain had it, I don't know.
everything expensive, it's hard to live. So you hardly have any cigarette to give. But when it comes to alcohol, I started to ball. Because when I hear the price, I start to feel small. Nowadays it's only soft drink for me. Because I ain't giving them mama none of my money. Well, when I hear that the budget read, and my heart, it started to bleed. For them drinkers and smokers, you know them tell us start making style in Tobago. They said in Trinidad, it even hard, because they like to drink liquor bad. So the Minister of Finance decide to punish them. Nowadays it's only heartache and problem. It had bush rum. I said to bring that back because I find the government very slack. You have Daru, which is the Indian rum. So I beg you all to please bring and give me some, because I find that they're really mad. Like they want to stop lining in Trinidad. We ain't gonna allow that plane. We go tell them, let them know. We don't want high price there in Tobago. Come on. Yo, yo, yo.